Over the past few months, I've been sent both these really awesome guitars by Enya Music. One is the Enya Nova Go Sonic and one is the Enya Inspire, and I've made videos about both of these guitars on my channel. They are smart guitars. They both have built-in speakers in the bottom with lots of effects and everything like that built straight into the guitar, so there's no need for an amp, there's no need for a rig. It is a rig in the guitar. And if you want to see individual demos of these guitars, hearing how the speaker sounds, all the built-in effects and everything like that, then check out the videos on my channel. I will link them in the description below. But anyway, which one is better? Because in a lot of ways they're very similar, but in also a lot of ways they're very different. I've had both of these guitars sat in my office where I teach my guitar lessons, and I'm not going to lie, they've been quite a strong talking point because they're both very visually striking guitars. They do look awesome, never mind how they sound, they look great too. So a lot of my students have been asking me the same question: which one is better? And let's be honest, for the price point of these guitars, that's a pretty valid question. So let's find out. So before we talk about the differences between the guitars, I actually want to talk about the similarities, as I said. Firstly, both obviously 6-string guitars, and they both feature this little button here on the guitar which actually turns the guitar on, and you can also press that button to toggle through the sound effects built into the guitar. So very similar in that regard, and obviously they both have speakers at the bottom. Now, very quickly, I know I said I'm going to talk about the similarities, but I do want to mention, whilst we're talking about the speakers, you can see quite clearly that the angle of the speaker is different on the Nova Go than it is on the Inspire. It's a kind of a different angle here, but also the size of the speaker is different between these guitars. On the Nova Go, you get a 10-watt speaker there, and on the Inspire, it's a 15-watt speaker, so slightly more on the Enya Inspire. Possibly one of the most unique things about both of these guitars, they share this in common, is that they're not made of wood, they're made of carbon fiber. So they're strong and pretty light at the same time, and they just feel a little bit different to a normal guitar to play. Personally, I actually really like it. I find it's quite a smooth finish on the guitar, so navigating it feels quite good, and it's the same on both guitars. But the next thing that they share in common is just all of the connections there. If you can see, we have a main jack socket there, we have a charging port there, USB-C, so you can charge the actual guitar up, and then there's a headphone socket there, so you can plug headphones, earphones straight into the guitar, so you can hear all the effects rather than use the speaker, or rather than plug it into an amp, you can just hear it straight in your ears. Lastly, as I mentioned, both guitars have this button here which actually turns the guitars on, but it's also a volume control, and there's another volume control here which is actually also a push-pull switch which changes the sound of the pickups and gives you different tonal options. So straight away you can see that both of these guitars have a lot to offer, and as I said, in a lot of ways they're quite similar. But how are they different? That's the question. So firstly, the Nova Go Sonic has 22 frets and the Enya Inspire has 24 frets, so a couple more frets on the Enya Inspire. Now, the elephant in the room, one of the main things you've probably noticed with both of these guitars is no tremolo, hardtail bridge, tremolo system on the Enya Inspire. So also, if you want to play more kind of stuff using a whammy bar, then obviously this is the option because this doesn't have it. And I will say it holds tuning quite well, because that's always an issue with tremolo systems, is does it knock the guitar out of tune? In my experience with this guitar, not at all. It's a great tremolo system, really responsive too. So this guitar has been a lot of fun to play because of that tremolo whammy system there. But yeah, the Nova Go Sonic does not have that. So the next main difference is obviously the pickups. You can see this has 3 pickups there, and there's just 2 pickups on the Nova Go. 2 humbuckers there, and this one is a HSS, which stands for humbucker single single. So we have a humbucker in the bridge and a single in the middle and neck position. So as you can imagine, both guitars have very different sounds because of that, but also that means that this switch here, which changes between the pickups on the Inspire, is a 5-way switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 5 options, whereas the Nova Go Sonic is just a 3-way switch because we have the 2 pickups, so we have neck, middle, and bridge pickup selections. And just whilst I'm looking a little bit closer at the guitar, I forgot to mention a minute ago, similarities, the truss rod adjustment, that's a hard thing for me to say. Truss rod adjustment is here at the bottom of the neck there, that little kind of thing. You do get the tool with the guitar, so if you need to adjust the truss rod, why can't I say that? There it is, it's at the bottom of the neck. It's the same on the Enya Inspire. And the next main difference is obviously the Enya Nova Go Sonic is more of a Les Paul shape, and the Enya Inspire is more of a Super Strat Ibanez kind of guitar. It also massively reminds me of the Ernie Ball John Petrucci Majesties, I believe. If you look at those guitars, this one kind of has that feel, which I think is really awesome. So clearly, as you can see with the Les Paul thing, one of the most noticeable things is it's a single cutaway, whereas this one is a double cutaway. And what I do like about the Inspire is the access right to the top fret there. Obviously, we have 24 frets, and it would be pretty pointless if you couldn't reach them because the cutaway wasn't in the right place. And you know what? I'm actually going to say the same thing about the Nova Go Sonic. It only has 22 frets, but still access to that top fret is quite easy. One of the most irritating things about Les Pauls that I've played in the past, proper Gibsons or Epiphones or different kind of styles, is that the access to that top fret is usually pretty restricted. It almost seems pointless having it, whereas this one, it's really easy to get to. That they've really thought, I don't know if you can see that there, but it's actually kind of like, what's the word? Ergonomically designed so that you can reach the top fret a lot easier. And that's the same on both guitars. And another thing I forgot to mention in similarities, these are things that I'm not used to looking for in guitars, but they both have a 0 fret. You can see there, just beyond the nut, there is a 0 fret on both of these guitars. And if we look just above the nut on both of these guitars, we get the headstocks, obviously on the Enya Inspire. They're all in a line there, that really typical Super Strat style, or Strat style in general. All inline tuners, but also on the Les Paul, more traditional, we have the 3x3. And the last thing I'm going to mention in terms of their differences is the fretboards themselves. If you look at the Nova Go, it's pretty much a blank fretboard, apart from the 12th fret has the Enya logo there, which I really like. I think that is awesome. The Enya Inspire has fret markers nicely put at the top of the frets, which gives it a kind of different aesthetic to other guitars. I know some guitars do have that, but I quite like the choice to put them at the top, just to sort of make it a little bit unique. So in terms of functionality, yes, both guitars have speakers built straight into the guitar, so you can hear the inbuilt sounds and everything like that. You can hook them both up to the Enya app. You can edit the sounds, save your presets, all that good stuff. Both guitars have that. It's the same app for both guitars too. But what the Enya Inspire has, which the Nova Go Sonic doesn't, is a foot switch, a foot controller. One of the main things I noticed in my original demo of the Nova Go Sonic is that to switch between the sound effects, you can only press the button to cycle up through them. You can't go backwards, and you can't jump from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. You have to go up all the way through them. But obviously the Enya Inspire has the foot controller, so you can do that a lot easier. You can press number 1, you can go to your clean tone, and you can jump straight to number 4 to your lead tone. That's just an example. And because of this foot switch with the Enya Inspire, that means that this guitar might be more suited for live guitar playing. And I'm actually going to test that out. I'm going to be taking this guitar to a gig in my band. I'm going to plug it straight into the PA using the sounds I've designed in the guitar. So no amps, no pedals, just the guitar plugged straight into the PA. And I'm going to be able to switch between my sounds with the Enya Inspire foot switch there. So how will that sound? Will it work? Stick around to find out. And originally when I got this foot switch, I did think it would work with any Enya guitar. I thought it would just sync up to the Nova Go Sonic 2. It would automatically find it. It didn't. I don't know if it will in future. I don't know if there's like a software thing that you can update. I don't know, but for the time being, I tried to hook this Enya foot switch up to the Nova Go Sonic. It didn't work. Whereas when I tried it with the Inspire, it immediately connected, so keep that in mind. So that's a pretty close look at both of these guitars, talking about the similarities, but also talking about the differences. Now, what about the question I asked right at the beginning? Which one is better? Unfortunately, I'm going to have a really boring answer to that and say, it depends. It depends on the player, it depends on people's preferences, it depends what you're using the guitar for. My own personal thoughts after having these guitars and sitting with them for a while is that this one is a lot of fun to play because of the whammy bar, and we have more frets, so therefore if I'm jamming to some backing tracks and want to play more lead guitar kind of stuff, I've got more access to higher frets with this one, but also the whammy bar, the tremolo, allows me to do some more interesting stuff. Visually, I really like the Nova Go Sonic, especially with that 12th fret Enya logo there and the blank fretboard on the rest of it. I think that just looks really, really cool. And in terms of the actual sound of the speakers of the guitar, I think I prefer the sound of the 10 watt speaker versus the 15 watt speaker. I don't know if it's just this guitar, this particular one that I'm holding here, but I feel like the 15 watt speaker is too much. So much so that when I kind of add a bit more gain into it and things like that, it gets a little bit rattly and a little bit kind of almost too distorted. So maybe the 10 watt speaker is ideal more than the 15 watt speaker in this guitar. But I also noticed that having both of these guitars in my office where all my guitar students were coming in and they were asking me the question, which one's better, I obviously reversed the question to them and said, well, which one do you prefer? And I would say most people liked the look of this one better than this one. So anyway, hopefully this video is not too long, and hopefully it's answered a few questions that you might be having about either the Nova Go or the Inspire, or how they compare or how they're different. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you team Nova Go Sonic or are you team Inspire? And if you want to check out more about these guitars, I'm going to leave links in the description below where you can check out both of these guitars on the Enya website. And they will be affiliate links also, so if you end up checking out one of these Enya guitars, you really like them, you end up buying one, it helps me out a little bit also. I want to say a massive thank you to Enya Music for sending me both of these guitars to check out. Really, really enjoying them. But also don't forget to stick around. I am going to be taking the Enya Inspire to a gig this weekend. I'm going to be checking it out and using it live on stage with my band. How will it sound? I'm going to use the foot switch to be able to change between my tones. Let's see how that goes. So if you're excited for that, stick around. That video should be out soon. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Don't forget to leave this video a like, leave me a comment as I said. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do. I make lots of guitar and music related content, and hopefully I'll see you next time.